I'm Mark Schneider, you're watching Schneider Classics, and today we're going to do a good old farm maintenance thing. So as you can see here, we had a bad snow that filled up the yard, and someone had to come here because our tractor's buried. Someone had to come here and quickly help us out with all that. So today we're going to start this thing. It's buried in snow on the trailer, so that's gonna be fun. That thing's waiting on a new coil. We're gonna start this thing today, hopefully. Good old girl, and plow her way out of here. Might throw the battery in this old girl and just get her running for a bit because she hasn't ran in the last couple months. And maybe let this thing run for about half an hour because she's been sitting here all winter cold, and she's normally the one that gives me a little bit of trouble because the fuel injection, what happens as it sits here, especially over winter, the injector lines drain back out into the tank and it collects moisture, and so there's water that gets lodged in the injector and frozen. So it'll instantly warm up with a couple fires. So I typically got to spray some spray down into the throttle body, and then she kicks over and she'll warm right up with those few first bangs and start pulling through that injector. That's the only problem I've ever had with this sled, is that in winter, the first start after she's been sitting for about a month, she doesn't want to start. But once you've started her, then every time after turning the key right after that, because the injectors are all clear, she'll pop right off. For us to be able to do that, I gotta run to town and pick up some fuel because we're out of... Hi, Bobber. Back from town with some gas. Gotta drain this thing off and then we'll get her started. Hey, cat. Yes, I know you're meowing.
Fuel lines are reprimed.
Time for this bad boy to start. Let's see, will this thing start without some spray? Nope. So on these Polarises here and stuff, you pull up the seat, pull up the cover, you pull up this. There's your throttle body. Works like a charm every time, but she's cold. Like I said, you just put a little bit of sprayer in there and she's running good now. She was a little going. Still puffing a little bit of smoke, but that's fine. I may let her sit here and warm up. You can use anything. You can use brake clean, you can use WD-40, you can use carb clean, you can use literally anything that says it's flammable, but typically I use a little bit of carb clean. Carb clean is not as good for the gaskets and all that. You don't want it sitting on it because it'll eat away the gaskets. Same will fuel. If fuel is sitting in your carb and shit for a long time, it'll eat away the gaskets. So this won't harm it at all to start off this for like a couple seconds. Now ethanol is really harsh, where WD-40 is a little bit better to start machines off of because WD-40 has some lubricant in it, so it'll have some lube in it. Where all these others like brake clean, carb cleaner, or starting fluid or ethanol are all very harsh starts because they're very dry. They dry instantly, pretty much. Carb cleaner is one of the nicer of the bunch. Starting fluid and ethanol, not ethanol, ether, I don't know, my brain's getting confused right now, are very harsh because they'll dry out the rings, the piston rings and all that. But if you're starting it off of it for a few seconds anyways, you won't do any damage. Like I said, I just have to do this through the winter. During the summer, she starts up every time, no problem. Just in the winter, what it is that little bit of fuel, that fuel injector is just a little sticky, and it'll get water moisture in it, so a few fires will warm it up instantly, and it's running perfectly good now. Just some of the enjoyments of this deep snow. There, she's in place to act as a battery booster. This whole girl. Starter's froze up, so hopefully we can unthaw her. So this old girl, I started her up like every 4 months because I'm paranoid. I had one engine sit here. That's underneath the green tarp. Hopefully going to be rebuilding that soon. Had one engine sitting here. Exhaust manifold's hooked up. And air filter on the carb and stuff. Sat here for 5 months. And she got moisture up the exhaust valve, and the exhaust valve rotted away. And that thing was just on a frame, so I do understand that, and this thing's not. This thing has sat for years and years and years in the long grass. That's why we have a frame replacement for it. But I'm just so paranoid that I run it every 3 months, every 4 months, just cause. So got the battery hooked up. She turns over freely, which is good. I already checked the oil. Oil's liquid. Throw a little bit of 2-stroke fluid down that carb, and we'll start her up. Well, some days are good, some days are bad. This battery's toast, and right now our battery charger is sitting over at my uncle's place with the car, because the car is having starting issues. So this battery needs to be charged before this thing will go. So she's not going to be started today, but she does need to be started and ran. So I'll do that another day. And this thing, the starter is froze right up. So we have I moved the heater from the oil pan and stuck her on the starter because, well, she needs to go. Issues. And then we have another issue with the sled. The fuel hose going from the mechanical fuel pump on the sled, on the snowmobile, has a crack in it. So it's gushing fuel everywhere. As you can see, it's still running, but it's leaking fuel everywhere. So I need to redo a fuel hose on that, which I didn't buy fuel lines today. So that's great. So 2 out of 1 today. Snowmobile and that. This thing, once I get the battery charged up, I should be able to start this thing. And this will start up later. So I'm sorry, old tractor. I'm sorry, old truck. 57, 72, you'll start up. I can't wait to start putting that's a 67, that's a 67 frame truck. Exact same truck, we go under that thing. Can't wait to put a new frame on that. She'll be golden. But that's gonna be it for today. And then move the snowmobile, clean up all this stuff. Like, I gotta put the jerry cans away, I gotta put the snowmobile away. Guess what, sometimes things don't go your way, but this is why you gotta try, so you know. Like, now I know this battery's dead, now I know the sled needs a new fuel line. That's why you gotta start your stuff every once in a while. And also clear the ice off the bottom of your engine. So that's chunky.